Hello, it is so good to have you here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I really wanted to share some information with you that God has been teaching me about healing for quite a number of years now. I've got it directly from God. I've also had it from Chester, who has been supporting me in spirit for the last sort of 3-4 years. Now, healing is very expansive. I have been on I don't even know how I would describe it. It has been the most incredibly intense healing journey over the last 6 years. I started off having my spiritual awakening back in 2018, 2019, purging a lot of stuff, uncovering trauma that I didn't even know was there. And I have almost completely changed who I am as a person. I virtually don't recognize myself today, but it has been a lot in relation to emotions. Whenever I think back to the end of last year, which was the end of 2024, I actually went through another dark night of the soul and another spiritual awakening that took me even deeper again. And some of the things that were coming up were things that I had revisited, and some of them were new things that were purging, that were coming out. And a lot of it has really brought me closer to my faith. Apologies if you hear the noise in the background, that's my little dog Rosie. A lot of it has brought me much closer to my faith, but it's really expanded my knowledge and expanded my mind of my own personal healing journey, as well as how the collective can improve and the things that we should be doing in order to really embrace our own healing. Now, healing doesn't always happen in the doctor's office. Rosie, man, shush, 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 shush. Healing doesn't really happen in the doctor's office. I know that within Western medicine, there is obviously amazing things that happen. I've had surgery to remove my cancer and things like that in Western medicine. So there's obviously an abundance of really positive things within that. But definitely the mindset of a lot of us, what I'm being told is that there's just too many of us that are looking for a quick fix. The injections, this weight loss injections, he's just talking about those now. Weight loss injections, to try and fix, get something quickly fixed rather than getting to the crux of the issue. And if we're just focused on putting a band-aid over something, having depression and then just taking a tablet for it and not actually doing any of the work to get to the underneath of why that's happening and to really start to fix ourselves, that's not really going to provide us with a long-term solution. It's going to provide us, he's showing me the lid going on the pressure cooker as we're trying to cook and it's at full steam, and we're trying to put the lid on and keep the pressure in while everything's bubbling over the top. So really, whenever we're trying to apply those like band-aid solutions and we're taking the medications without actually getting to the root of what the issue is, then we're going to really be not solving the issue ultimately. It may seem on the surface that things have changed and things have improved, but underneath I'm just being shown this storm of just a stormy sea, essentially. So if you can imagine, like on the surface of the water, it's completely smooth, but underneath it's like there's a tornado going and the seabed is being ripped up and all of this. So that's the image that I'm being shown there. Whenever we are looking at Western medicine as a way to solve our healing issues, the best thing that we can do is to really have a blended approach. Whenever I say Western medicine as well, I am specifically talking about medications and things like that would address the things that are on the surface rather than actually delving into the root. And I know obviously that we're really shifting our mindsets at the moment to, journaling and CBT and all of these different therapies that can really benefit us. But whenever we are looking to look at actually healing ourselves completely, we do need to be taking in a blended approach of different healing therapies, different healing modalities. And it's not just taking care of what's on the surface. So for me, weight loss is something that's on my agenda at the moment. And I have really struggled with my weight for quite a considerable length of time. But I also know that the internal workings of my body aren't doing what they should be. So that obviously is something that I'm working on healing now, and I'm really focused on that. My cancer has returned again for the third time, and my body body is overproducing the estrogen, and it's misusing the estrogen that it does produce. I have some issues with my liver not my liver needs a detox, essentially. So I'm trying to work on that and trying to allow my body to heal itself. I had some pineapple recently, and it's the second time that I've noticed this with pineapple, and it gives me a stomachache. So I have some healing and restorative measures that are going on internally that, you know, I have really had to instigate for myself. But we also have all of that emotional healing as well. Whenever we carry those emotions and we repress things within our body, so say you have had an experience that you have went through in your life or in your childhood, and you've carried it with you all of these years, most often we think we have offloaded things. I actually had a conversation with a girl yesterday. We went for a beach walk, and she has, you know, been on this journey herself. And she was actually saying about how she's still so surprised at the amount of things that come to the surface that she thinks she has actually dealt with. And actually, it turns out that she has just repressed them. They're not something that she has fully dealt with. I have noticed this on my own path, and I notice it time and time again with the people that I work with, whether it's, you know, the one-to-one sessions that I do, the coaching, all of the guidance that I give and I bring through to people. And I would get a lot of guidance specifically for people's healing journeys and the traumas that they're carrying. So it's very hard to be able to see that within people and them not be aware that it is there, because they think that they're further along their path, or they're in better condition, I would say, than what they realize. They think that they're in better condition than what they actually are. And that is a trap that a lot of us fall into, myself included. This is no discredit to the people that have been on that path and that have worked with me. I myself notice it within myself. I have this pattern of thinking that, oh, this particular issue is resolved, or, oh, finally that big chunk of healing is done and I can move forward. But there's always something else. I think about it as, can you remember those gobstoppers? I don't know, for a lot of you might remember them back in like the 90s and the noughties. And they were so large, and you used to lick them, and you would eventually get to a layer that was a different colour, and it continued to lick them, and then you get to another layer that's a different colour. The onion, you know, idea of an onion as well is the same. Like, we pull the layer off the onion, but actually there's another layer underneath. So if we pull that off, there's another layer underneath. That is how our healing really looks, especially when it comes to large traumas that we have experienced, or significant things within our path that we have really held within us and repressed down. What we essentially do is we're offloading things bit by bit, and we're just skimming a little bit off the surface. So it's no surprise that we think that it's healed and it's done, and then something else happens again that brings it up to the surface, or we're meditating, or we're doing something, or, you know, there's lots of different ways that it can be brought up to the surface. But we take a little bit off the top, and then it comes up again to revisit. And it's not that you haven't dealt with it fully. It's just that we can't fully deal with a lot of these things in one foul swoop. So we need to be just skimming a little bit off the top. Our human body, our human brain, our mind, it can only cope with so much at one time. And our bodies are very, very clever, that they will store things away in order to help us move forward and to help us excel in life. And then it'll just throw those little things up every now and again that need to be dealt with. So within our body, my current cancer is actually a really interesting one. Within our body, whenever there is dissonance between who we're supposed to be, the traumas that we're leaving within us, because all of the trauma is stored within our body energetically, whenever we are trying to be somebody different who we are, and we're contorting into fit with other people's image, or we're putting ourselves through stressful situations, all of this creates compartment within our body for illness and things like that to come to the surface. So whenever I use my cancer as an example, one of the things that I'm being shown is, if you can think of a chest of drawers that has 5 drawers in it, 5 compartments, and they're actually all disorientated. They're all spread out. They're not just in that nice little column. That's essentially what the inside of us can look like emotionally and energetically. I don't think that I've actually described that very well. Basically, it's just that everything is mismatched. It's in a bit of a disarray. If you can think, the drawer is pulled out, there's stuff flung over the side of it, and everything is just a little bit of a mess. Whenever we start to really step into the fullness of who we are on a soul level, and we also focus on actually being the person that we're supposed to be, doing the things that we're supposed to do, following the trail of the things that light us up and really excite us, when we remove ourselves from stressful situations, when we start to nourish our mind, body, and soul, because they all need separate ways of, being nourished, then we start to almost organize those drawers, and we're folding the clothes and we're putting them back, and we're closing the drawers. Whenever everything is in order, that creates this sort of environment where we can suddenly just start to attract this almost serene existence where everything that we want comes to us. We can be unfazed by any external stimulus that might throw us off kilter a little bit normally, emotionally, or, if somebody says something to you and you're unfrazzled. Like by the time I got my third cancer diagnosis, and it was just like, okay. And I was sitting talking to the doctor about what this means, and my friend was sitting next to me like, whoa, like she was just so thrown off. A lot of my family have really struggled with my diagnosis this time, but because of the work that I have been doing, and I am very lucky that it all has been guided by the spirit world. I've had Chester, I've had God, because all of this has been guided and I have been almost handheld, taken through this, which has been, having to face a lot of dark things, being triggered in a lot of cases in order to face the traumas and to deal with the things that needed to be dealt with. It has really meant that I have had this inner calmness, that I have felt unfazed and unfrazzled whenever I have been dealing with, for the most part. Obviously, yes, emotions still come up, but it doesn't throw me into a tailspin, which is a really, really positive place to be. Now, in this case, for me, I've done a lot of the healing when it comes to my emotions, when it comes to offloading a lot of traumas. And of course, I'm aware that there will still be other things there that I need to deal with. And now what I'm really facing is being able to tackle my weight and focusing more on the physical aspect of my healing journey rather than on purely I don't want to say that I was purely focused on the emotional one previously, but certainly my mind and spirit would have definitely been the focal point, and it is where I am really the most strongest in. So I'm now embarking on a journey where my focus is more so on the physical, looking at what I ate, looking at, fasting, doing water fasts, looking at, incorporating plenty of physical activity, listening to my body more, understanding what things feel like within my body, where maybe I would have felt very disconnected from that in the past, and I would have ignored different things that maybe would have went on within my body, or if I had found something, that may have caused other people alarm, just to make them aware. The very first time that I had breast cancer, I'd actually felt the lump initially and thought, that'll not be anything. And then I felt it again and I was like, that feels like it could be something. I need to go and get it checked out. But even then I was still hesitant to go to the doctor's office. So, that has been something that has really been constant through my life, where I haven't necessarily always had the right thing to eat whenever I know that my body has needed nourishment. I haven't always been disciplined in incorporating movement. I didn't have this ability to walk the middle path, is what I call it. I was obsessed at one stage by weightlifting. I was in the gym 6 days a week. I was eating a bodybuilder diet, and this was just my life. It was my obsession. I find it very, very difficult. Certainly in the past, I have found it very, very difficult to have that equilibrium where I'm, having a little bit of healthy stuff, the odd naughty treat. I'm doing a little bit of gentle exercise or movement, and I'm then moving on and doing other things within my day. I've had that tendency to swing from one thing to the other. That's certainly been a pattern that I have noticed emotionally as well. It may be something that you have noticed too, where you can either be deliriously happy, or you're crumbling and you're angry, or you're sad and you're having emotional outbursts and struggling to find some self-restraint. So whenever we try to find that middle path in our mind, our body, and our spirit, that is where the magic happens. That is where cancer is cured. That is where things happen within us, where we can just magnetize and draw the things towards us that we want. We've manifested abundance, and all of a sudden the abundance just comes. Finding that equilibrium. So I know that I've probably went off piste a little bit, and I've definitely talked a little bit longer than what I wanted to, but I really wanted to inspire you that there is so much more that we can do for our healing. And it doesn't all need to happen overnight. This isn't about changing yourself overnight. This is about gradual, sustainable changes where you can focus on your mind, your body, and your spirit. People are going to naturally gravitate towards one or the other. Like, I have a call shortly with a lady over in the US who used to be, she's a personal trainer, she's a fitness model. She can feel the energy moving in her body in ways that I can't necessarily feel, because I don't have the same connection to my physical body and using it and feeling those things the same way as what she does. But then on a mental capacity and the mind and the spirit connection, I have so much more there than what she might have. So everybody has a stronger way of working, or a stronger thing that they might lean to more than the other. But we can absolutely do all of it and look at our healing as a full holistic thing, rather than putting the band-aid over the top of it. Start to listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to how things might feel to you. Understand that whenever you're feeling triggered by something, that this is an opportunity for growth. This isn't a punishment. You're not being, tortured by the universe. God isn't out to, inflict karma upon you or anything like that. It is an opportunity for you to understand yourself a little better and to grow from that. Okay, so I hope that has really helped you. I hope that it has inspired you somewhat. And if you want to get my book, actually, I keep forgetting to mention this. My book is available. It's Wisdom Proverbs Proverbs for Today. And it is a series of different proverbs and inspirational paragraphs and short, digestible bits of information that you can actually sit and read through. It's all been channeled from God. It's all wisdom that has come directly from God that will help us in all areas of our life, really, and help us overcome, the different challenges and, opportunities that come up against us that maybe aren't as pleasant, and also help us find the pleasure in life as well itself. So you can check that out on Amazon. The link is in my bio. I'll pin it for you below as well. It has been a pleasure to be here today. I will be back with more content very soon, and I hope that you have an amazing day.